The UK-based reggae style of lovers rock originated in London in the 1970s. Some say kicked off by teenage Louisa Marks' hit Caught You in a Lie, based on a US R&B hit produced by Lloyd Coxon and given musical shape by Dennis Bovell and Matumbi. This spawned an entire subgenre, often voiced by young females about the same age as the fans who were buying the records, who were in tune with what their audiences had grown up absorbing, the different influences, the different environment, and also in tune with their hopes and aspirations. It was more romantic, sweeter than most of the heavy drum and bass oriented roots and culture and Rastafari themed reggae that was around at those times, while still packing enough rhythmic punch to rock a house party. And Dennis Bovell was behind many of those early records. The genre would continue on for many years as something of an underground phenomenon. The records would sell in respectable quantities while remaining largely ignored by the mainstream. In recent years, the style has been moved forward by an unlikely proponent who embodies many of the paradoxes of UK reggae. Punk was also gravitating toward reggae in those years, and Hollie Cook has emerged as a major star of the style of lovers rock in the last decade. She is the daughter of Paul Cook, drummer of the Sex Pistols, and her mother, Jenny, is of West Indian descent and was a backing singer for Culture Club, among others. Boy George is literally her godfather. So her musical pedigree was assured from the start, but her path toward reggae perhaps less so. She dropped out of school at the age of 16 to study makeup design and art. Her dad, Paul Cook, got involved with Airy Up, leader of seminal female UK punk band The Slits. Airy Up was reforming a new lineup of The Slits in the early 2000s and brought Paul Cook in to contribute to some of the music. When she heard his daughter Hollie sing, she brought Hollie into the band, playing keyboards, adding backing vocals. Hollie would appear on the Slits EP Revenge of the Killer Slits and their final album 2009's Trapped Animal. Hollie would view Airy Up as a mentor, bringing her out of her shell, the previously shy, reserved teen, learning a lot about performing, touring with the Slits. However, in 2010, Airy Up passed away from cancer, leading to the band's dissolution. However, from this tragedy, Hollie Cook, the solo artist, would emerge. Hollie Cook's musical mentor, the dreadlocked punk firebrand Airy Up, had long been deeply influenced by Jamaican reggae, dub, and dancehall. She would push Hollie into that direction as well. So too would engineer and producer Mike Pellanconi, aka Prince Fatty. Hollie had contributed work to his 2007 album Survival of the Fattest. Following Airy Up's death and the breakup of the Slits, Hollie would continue working with Prince Fatty as producer of her debut album, helping to shape the sound of her solo career, which would draw on her influences from lovers rock singers like Janet Kay to the 60s girl group sound, a blend that Hollie herself would call tropical pop. Mike Pellanconi, Prince Fatty, would himself dub it 21st century lovers rock. To craft the sound, he would bring in a solid roster of players, including Lovers Rock godfather Dennis Bovell himself on some tracks, Black Steel, who had played with Neil Fraser, Mad Professor, Mafia from Mafia and Fluxy, even George Decker from the Pioneers doing background vocals. Hollie's debut album, the self-titled Hollie Cook, would appear in 2011 through Mr. Bongo. Final copy there would be well received, would see originals written by Pelanconi himself largely, as well as a cover of the Shangri-Las Walking in the Sand, with whimsical cartoony cover art by Robin Eisenberg, who would do all of Hollie's Cook's covers henceforth. Body Beat featuring dance hall DJing by Horseman would make plain the reggae influence of her music, which she dubbed tropical pop. Album would be well received, and Hollie Cook's solo career would be launched. Would also be followed by a dub album, dub remixes by Prince Fatty, with somewhat whimsical Day of the Dead style cover art, something of a very fanciful imagery in Hollie Cook's album covers. Hollie Cook in dub, remixed by Prince Fatty, would appear in 2012.
It's been so long since I've been home. Don't miss out bad. My body beats and I'm feeling raw. Too much space where you belong. Somewhere dark and warm. It's feeling so right to be wrong.
Also in 2012, Hollie Cook would appear as an opening act for the Stone Roses on their reunion tour as her profile continued to raise. Her dub album with Prince Fatty, Hollie Cook in dub, had included snatches of horror movie style dialogue as bits of her vocals float in and out of the mix, and something of this B-movie, horror movie aesthetic would continue on her second album, 2014's Twice, funded via Pledge Music. This time, again, featuring cover art by Robin Eisenberg with something of an exotica, B-movie style, the Day of the Dead type skeletons, as Hollie's unique musical worldview continued to expand and grow. The sonic palette, again crafted by Prince Fatty, bringing in string arrangements on some songs. Again, many of the same performers as the debut album. Lead-off track, Airy Up, paying explicit tribute to her lost mentor. This finds Hollie contributing more to the songwriting, becoming more confident as a performer, with a sultry, sexy, yet somewhat provocativeness of her punk background present, and the fanciful imagery and worldview becoming more fully developed. Following this, she would sign with Merge Records, leading to her third album, Vessel of Love, to appear in 2018. Again, the colorful cartoon art, much the same sound as Hollie's style continues to grow and develop into a fully realized performer of brand new 21st century lovers rock. While Hollie's music would continue to be based on a bedrock of heavy bass and drum, reggae lovers rock rhythms. 2018's Vessel of Love had seen a change not only in record labels from Mr. Bongo to Merge Records, but also a change in the production chair as producer of the first two albums, Prince Fatty, was replaced for that album by Killing Joke member Youth, who had gone on to work with acts like U2, Pink Floyd, The Orb, and The Verve. He would return in a collaborative role on her fourth album, 2022's Happy Hour, released in June of that year, which would see Hollie and her band assuming full songwriting and musicianship duties, taking over much of the production for a more fully realized and more mature set of songs than ever before. Even the cover art, again by Robin Eisenberg, dispensing with some of the whimsical elements of the previous albums for a more idealized portrait of Hollie sitting apparently contentedly at some poolside tropical bar. The title song itself, however, the first song on the album, Happy Hour, painting a rather different portrait as the narrator sits at a bar, perhaps on some rain-slicked London street, watching the clock, watching the entrance for a love interest who is not showing up. It's a classic scenario of being stood up, of having your emotions, your very future tied up in the hands of someone who may not be as invested in the relationship as you are. As the songs on this album progress, it's clear that it's largely concerned with some sort of cataclysmic end of a relationship, a breakup album, if you will, as the singer moves through various stages of emotional responses, peeling back layers like an onion from hurt to numbness, withdrawal, emotional distance, to becoming heartless and materialistic on Gold Girl. Kush Queen, with guest vocal by Jamaican artist, the female artist John Nine, finds solace in the healing properties of the herb ganja, as well as a sense of empowerment and entrepreneurship through growing of it. Finally, Move My Way, the second last track on the album, is the first truly joyful moment on the album as the singer begins to get her groove back, begin to feel good about life again. The final song, Praying, features guest appearance by Dennis Bovell, who had graced her first album as well, one of the co-founders of Lovers Rock itself, and finds her finally in a place of accepting that the relationship has ended and beginning to reconcile her feelings and offer forgiveness to the one who has done her wrong. 2022's Happy Hour, perhaps Hollie Cook's most mature adult set of songs yet, and finds her fully arriving as a fully realized artist in her own right. Hope you've enjoyed this look at one of the brightest stars of reggae music in the 2000s. Cheers, guys.